Okay, so today we are going to work on the second part of dividing fractions. Now, for some of you, this may be a repeat from small group or what we did in class, but let's just continue. Let's look at those problems from 15.5. The first problem, we had one whole, and looking at one whole, we said, well, how many 1/5 will go into a whole? Clearly, there are 5 1/5 in one whole. Let's take 1/2. If I start with one whole, this is 1/2. Now, I want to see how many 1/4 pieces will fit into that half. Now, I've noted where the fourth is. How many of those 1/4 pieces fit in? Of course, the answer is 2. The last problem we looked at yesterday was 1/3 and we divided 1/3 by 1/12. So I have highlighted 1/3. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I now have shown how I've split my one whole into 1/12 size pieces. How many 1/12 pieces are in that shaded 1/3? And the answer is 4. Yesterday I asked you to look at the pattern. Look and see what pattern you can notice in these 3 problems. You may have noticed that the answer is the denominator of the second number divided by the denominator of the first number. But what happens if I change that problem slightly? Let's try this time to do 2/3 and let's divide 2/3 by 1/6. One piece, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's our 6th piece. Well, this time, I could have divided my second denominator by my first one, but that would only give me how much is in 1/3, and I have 2/3. And we can see by this picture that the answer is 4. When we are dividing fractions, we have to do several things. We have to understand that a fraction is already a whole divided into pieces. So we're dividing by something that's already divided. This is a type of inverse operation. So what we're going to do is, instead of dividing by a fraction, we are going to do something called multiplying by the reciprocal. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal. In this problem, what that means is we would say 2/3. Instead of dividing, like I said, we're going to multiply, and the reciprocal of 1/6 is 6 over 1. So we get 12/3, which equals 4. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, so let's just practice with what it means to be a reciprocal. Okay. A reciprocal, in plain English, is when we flip the numerator and the denominator. Now, that is not the technical definition, but at this point, I want us to understand exactly what we do. So if I want the reciprocal of 1/2, I would get 2 wholes. The reciprocal of 3/4 would be 4/3. Reciprocals do change the value. The reason we can change the value of our second number is because we are no longer dividing. When you divide by a fraction, it is the same as multiplying by a reciprocal. So, you should have been writing all of this in our spiral so far, so if you need to go back and look at anything, you can. But let's go ahead and label this as 2 divide fractions. And let's write out our steps. To divide fractions, we're going to practice with practice book page 15.5, and we're going to look at number 5. The problem is 2/9 divided by 1/6. Your first step is to multiply the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So, 2/9 times the reciprocal of 1/6 is 6/1. And we get the answer 12/9, which is 1 3/9. We could have also simplified this as 4/3, which is 1 1/3. Now, please, using both this method and your fraction bars if you need them, try to do the rest of exercise 15.5. So, by the time you get back to class tomorrow, you should have exercise 15.5 completed.